We're talking about, should presidents be held to a higher standard, like a higher moral standard, perhaps? Because we have certainly had, I think, a lot of presidents who have had scandals in their personal lives about their economics or their affairs. And so now that we have Donald Trump, who we pretty much know all of his baggage. I'm not going to say we know all of it. We know a lot of it, right? But also with Kamala Harris, I don't know that we know everything, but here we have another woman running for president.
Well, I think that's what, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's what I think this whole thing started from, because people were talking about how she slept her way to the top. And for me, I got a little bit frustrated about that, because men presidents have been sleeping with multiple women even when they're married, and no one cared. And then
I think people cared. People definitely cared about Bill Clinton. It was an international scandal.
Did people care when Marilyn Monroe was in the middle of a bunch of stuff?
I don't think. See, and that's what you're doing. Why didn't you say Kennedy? Why did you say the woman?
I said
the woman always gets blamed.
I couldn't remember the name of the president because I'm not really into the politics like that, but I would have said Kennedy. I'm not blaming Marilyn Monroe. I think that we need to mind our damn business and let them do what they do. As long as they're not having oral sex and sex and all that stuff when, there's a war going on, or whenever whatever it could possibly mess up the country. I don't care what they do. I don't care if this dude is having sex with another woman. I don't care if he's cheating on his wife. I don't care about any of that. It's none of my business. And I don't feel like anyone owes us an apology for having sex. It's not our business. You know what I mean? Like, I remember.
But I think when you have the highest office in this country, that you should be careful what you do. And I think that you should be careful of who you do it with.
Are you saying be careful and not do anything? Or are you saying be careful and cover your ass when you're doing it? Because no matter what business that you're in, it could be a bank, it could be a pharmaceutical company, it could be a restaurant. Most of these owners and presidents of these companies, they're having affairs too. So it's like, it doesn't really matter what the situation is. The president of the United States is human. So it doesn't.
Yeah, but the president of the United States has all eyes on him or her, and has to also sit with world leaders and negotiate and all this kind of stuff, and has the entire press corps following them. So nobody's following you or me, at least not yet. And so I do think if you're in the public eye, you should be aware that you're in the public eye and not do stupid shit.
What about the people back in the day that were kings and they had concubines and they had all kinds of different things?
There was no paparazzi back then.
I mean, me personally, just like I said, I feel like if they were in the White House doing their thing, as long as they weren't doing their thing, that was like messing up the country, I really don't even care.
But it does mess up the country. Trump just went through this whole trial. Bill Clinton went through his whole thing. And it's a distraction from...
But MJ, you want to know what's so funny about you saying that this is a distraction?
What?
The only reason why these guys are going through all this is because they're lying. If Bill Clinton just would have said, yeah, I had sexual relations with this woman, what could they have possibly said after that? They wouldn't have been able to say anything. All he had to do was just tell the truth. He could have went home, told Hillary, hey, listen, she topped me off. There's really nothing, she topped me off. I busted a couple times, but it was nothing more than that. I love you. That's just what it is. Most women already know what's going on. Hillary already went through that with Bill before, but it's like all he had to do was just tell the truth and say that he did it. Same thing with Donald Trump. He didn't have to lie and say that he didn't do it. He slept with the girl. Just say you slept with her and just keep it a bean. You don't have to lie.
What?
That's all.
Well, okay. Couple things. The Donald Trump thing was because he took money from one of the campaign funds to pay off Stormy Daniels.
But if he would have told the truth from the very beginning, he wouldn't have had to pay her off. He could have been like, yeah, I had sex with her. So what?
Well, so why do you think that they're lying? Why do you think that they lie?
You tell me. Because, I wouldn't have lied. Yeah, I did. I had sex with her. We went out. We had a good time. I had sex with her. I slipped up. It's just that simple. I did it.
So you think the wife would have just said, oh, that's okay, I understand?
I'm not saying that the wife would have said that, but at the same time, it's like, most of the time when you get married, your wife kind of knows what kind of individual that she's married to. You know what I mean? Like, these dudes are in the public eye. She's been around him in public. She's seeing, all the different temptations. I'm pretty sure that she can't possibly think that this dude is not doing anything, especially a dude like Donald Trump that he just loves himself. So I don't really think that.
Well, you could say the same thing about Bill Clinton because he had been doing it since he was governor of Arkansas. So,
he tried to do it when he was the governor of Arkansas. I don't think that he succeeded. They said that the girl kept saying that he asked her to do it. He didn't do it.
Well, I think there was other women who came forward and said that they had had affairs with him, long-term affairs with him in Arkansas.
Okay, well, I would like to take the time out to find out exactly what it is that you don't like about Bill Clinton. Because it's like we've talked about Kennedy, we've talked about Donald Trump, we've talked about other presidents that was in that seat. But Bill Clinton, for some reason, it just strikes a nerve with you.
It does.
And I just want to know what the problem is.
I'll tell you what the problem is. I have multiple problems. Mostly it's because I was Monica Lewinsky's age.
It's all making sense now.
So when it was all happening, she and I were around the same age. And I was a political science major in college. And I did think about going to Washington and, becoming an intern at the White House or the Pentagon or somewhere else. And it just seemed like, even there, the men are going to be predatory. And
okay, so let me ask you this. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
How can you possibly say that this particular situation was a predatory situation? Because she came on to him, she lifted up her shirt and showed her thong. And before she even got to the White House, I did my research and I found out that she had an affair with her teacher that was married in high school. So she's been dealing with married men all along. She knew that Bill Clinton was married. She still tried to attempt him. She still went to, all these different rallies or whatever it was that he was doing, and she was trying to seduce him.
I would say,
how can you, I think it was both of their faults. It wasn't just Bill Clinton being a predator and he just took advantage of this.
But he's president and he's older and the teacher was older. And in both cases, those men were in positions of power. And that is a power imbalance. And that is what we say now in the Me Too era, that when there is a power imbalance, that the man has to be more responsible for his actions.
So does this power imbalance, is this the same thing for the woman? Because I seen an interview with Monica Lewinsky and she said she was majorly turned on by this guy because he was the president of the United States.
Yeah.
And she said that he was, handsome and all that stuff. But it's like, I don't understand how this one person gets blamed when it's both parties that did it. Like, she did things too. Like, I'm not trying to say that what Bill Clinton did was right, but what I'm trying to say is they should equally have the blame. You don't have that same hate for her that you have for Bill.
True.
That's the thing.
Because I think she was the younger woman. She was vulnerable. She was naive. And that's what I think. But if you're president of the United States, if you're a teacher, or if you're on tour like you were as a rapper.
Hey, we not going to this. I don't have anything to do with this.
No, but that there's women all around who are, enamored with you because they think that you're a celebrity or they think that you have power or they think whatever it is. And you being the person who that's directed at, I do think that you have a responsibility not to just take advantage of all the young women who you come across. Do you agree or not?
I agree, but I disagree at the same time, because I think that what you're doing is you're sitting from the outside looking in and you're looking at Bill Clinton or any of these other celebrities as being like these big celebrities and they're on top of the world. But at the end of the day, they're regular human beings just like us. I don't think that they understand the magnitude of, what each individual person is going to think, because they're just human and they only know what they think. He was both of them were in a situation. They were both adults. They decided that they wanted to have sex. Well, as a matter of fact, they didn't even have sex. She just topped them off a couple times.
Oh, so are we going to talk about what sex is?
I mean, listen, I got the information from her. I went and did my research on Monica Lewinsky, and Monica Lewinsky said she did not call oral sex sex. She said that oral sex was fooling around. That's her words, not mine. She said they were fooling around and they never had sex.
Okay, well, whatever it is, I think to do that literally in the Oval Office.
They wasn't in the Oval Office. It was in the hallway next to the Oval Office.
Right, okay. So in the White House, let's just say, not in the privacy of somebody's home or a bedroom or whatever, It was probably part of the turn on that they were doing it in public places.
I mean, how many people that you know that actually have sex in their office or?
But they're not president of the United States. I'm saying there should be a different standard when you're the president of the United States.
As far as I'm concerned, is there any of these standards in writing before they become president that says you can't do this, you can't have sex?
It's the 32nd Amendment. You should not get a blowjob in the Oval Office.
Hey, I didn't know that. I mean, if the president didn't see that,
Thou shalt not.
I don't think that he should be held accountable for it. These are the rules that you're making up. So I don't believe in it. I mean, me personally, just like I told you before, these people, presidents, celebrities, everyone, they're all regular people. And, you know, they have sexual desires. He was turned on, she was turned on, and they both were adults and they did consensual acts. And they didn't even have sex. They had oral sex. And according to both of them, he did not have sexual relations with that woman. And she said that it was just fooling around. It is what it is. And then you're saying that you're so upset about the fact that Bill Clinton didn't get smacked as hard as she did. I mean, he went up for an impeachment trial. He did lose a lot of relationships.
He's back he's like revered as a president now. And she had all the slut shaming directed at her.
I mean,
so
she wrote a couple books and got some movies and stuff after her. She got her money.
So what do we think about now with Donald Trump and Kamala Harris? Because the only other woman to run for president was Hillary Clinton, and she had all of Bill's baggage with her, and her own baggage. But this is like a different woman who's married to a different man. Her husband, Kamala Harris's husband, already admitted that he cheated on his wife, his first wife. And that came out last week. Nobody really seemed to care. And I don't care either. I'm just saying, if you are running for president, are you supposed to be held to a higher moral standard?
If you're going to say that and you feel like a president is supposed to be held at a higher moral standard, then how did Donald Trump get in 2016 or whenever that was? Like, there is no moral standard in today's society. I remember back in the 80s and the 90s, if you weren't squeaky clean, you couldn't even get on the ticket. And it's not like that now. Like everyone.
But I don't think they were squeaky clean.
They weren't, but it's just that they were hiding their stuff.
Yes. So do a better job with that. Keep it quiet. I mean, the whole thing about all of Kennedy's affairs didn't come out until after his death. During his presidency, it was Camelot. It was he and Jackie were like the king and the queen of the United States. And only after his death did all of those affairs, news of those affairs come out. So,
I just feel like, personally, I don't care what they're doing. If they're not doing anything to fraud something or trying to take advantage or trying to take some money from some kind of organization that's helping kids or something like that, I really don't care about their sexual situation.
Maybe the fact that Trump got elected, maybe nobody cared. Maybe we're over this. Maybe we're in a post-monogamy world and we're just going to accept, which, I mean, I guess I'm okay with. If everybody's going to just accept it and it's not going to be a scandal that distracts the country, I mean, I honestly don't care who anybody sleeps with as long as they're not also sleeping with me.
That's all I wanted to hear. That's all. I just wanted to hear you say that.
No, but I think it's different if you're the president because then it becomes a distraction. Then it becomes, that's what everybody's focused on instead of focusing on policy and getting done the business of this country that needs getting done.
Well, according to my boy Bill and according to the things that I saw on Monica Lewinsky, he wasn't distracted that long. It was only taking a couple minutes. He was only away from the board for a couple minutes and he was back to work. So it's not like it was a huge ordeal.
This scandal lasted much longer than that.
Exactly. I mean, he only got it a couple times. He just got some face a couple times and it was over. It wasn't that big of a deal. So for me, again, I really don't think it is that big of a deal. To me, I look at it where I don't look at any man being above me. There are men that are financially above me or maybe even smarter than me, but I still don't look at you like you're above me. So I look at the situation where it's I wouldn't want someone to sit there and look at my sexual track record to see if I'm qualifying to be CEO of Bungie. That to me, I don't look at it that way.
You're not the president yet.
I don't even want that job. You're just sitting there trying to track who's giving me face. You know what I'm saying? If I want face, I want face. I can't sit there and be hiding stuff and going underneath sweeping stuff under the rug. That's why I couldn't be president. Because I'm going to be up on the Oval Office getting it in. I'm not hiding anything. Did you have sexual relations with that woman? Yes, I did. I hit it from multiple positions. I lasted about 30 minutes and I'm done. Are there any other questions? I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not going to say, oh, I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Well, wait, do you think it would be different for a woman president, though?
It's going to be different for a woman president but just because of the way that society tries to treat men and women. But I'm not one of those people. I look at it like a woman is just like a man. If a woman decides she wants to have sex with multiple men, that's on her. You know what I mean? Like, men do it. And I just think that it's kind of crazy that somewhere in society, they all made this rule where it's like, it's cool for men to have all these different women, but it's like if a woman has more than one man, she's a slut. You know what I mean? Like, to me, I just don't agree with that. And I know that a lot of men are going to be looking at this like, man, you crazy. But it's like, how can you do that? And then you expect your woman to not do the same thing. So,
well, that's like biblical. I mean, that's how far that goes back. But because Kamala Harris got married like a little later in life, is everybody going to dig up all of her past boyfriends and her past lovers?
What does that have to do with anything like right now? Like,
I don't know.
If she had a boyfriend when she was in college and dude is a murderer right now, what does that have to do with her being the president at almost 60 years old? Like, everyone made mistakes when they were younger. You even said that Monica Lewinsky was 22 when she went in, and did what she did. She was young, she was this, she was that. But it's like, okay, she's 50-something now. Like, are we still going to keep blaming her for what she did when she was 22? Because I don't think the same way that I did when I was 22.
For sure.
So it's like, for these guys to sit there and bring up all these different people that, Kamala had dealt with, so what? I don't care if she slept with 100 men. What's that have to do with me right now? And her, going for presidency. It doesn't make any sense to me.
But it doesn't speak to somebody's character, how they conduct themselves in their love life or their sex life. Does that speak to how they make decisions about other things? Because then it is relevant to the presidency, or it is relevant if you're going to be the CEO of a company.
I don't believe it.
You think that your sex life and your business life...
You have a sex life, and she wanted to get trained by 3 guys. What's that have to do with her being a district attorney and the attorney general and all the other kind of stuff? She can still be smart and like having kinky sex at the end of the day. Like, I don't think that has, like, you know what I mean? So what are you saying? That if someone has a kinky sex life, they're not good to be a leader? I don't understand the question.
That's what I'm asking.
Well, my sex life was kind of crazy, and I'm still a good leader. Did you see any flaws in my leadership?
No.
Yeah. So that answers that question.
But I think it's tabloid fodder. And I think that there is like, maybe we're all over it a little bit. Like, it's kind of like J-Lo and Ben, like, we're over it, right? Like, they made a mess of their lives, whatever the situation is. God bless them. I wish them both well. But, like, I'm a little bit tired of hearing about it. And maybe we're a little bit tired of hearing about the sex lives of these presidents or want to be presidents. And I don't know, maybe it won't matter anymore.
As far as I'm concerned, to me, it doesn't really matter, what someone did back in the day and then trying to bring it up now. Like, what does that have to do with them now? Because like I said, I mean, how many people are out there right now that made a mistake in high school, college, or any of that? And then...
Not me. I've never made any mistakes ever.
Does anyone know Melissa? Because if anyone knew Melissa back in the day, please give me a call. I want to leave my number at the end of this video. If anyone knows her from high school, college, or any of that, please call me so I can take some notes.
Nobody knows me. I don't have any friends at all. Anyway.
Well, that explains a lot right there. And, for me, I look at it where it's like, there are people that are out there that, and there's probably a few that are out there that never made any mistakes and are just perfect individuals because they knew when they were 10 years old that they were going to run for some kind of politician's job.
Well, wait, who's perfect?
Who?
Barack Obama.
Okay.
Or...
I mean, they did say that he smoked weed or something before.
Yeah, but like, do you think that he kept it all together during his time in the White House because Michelle would throw him out, or because he knew he was being held to a different standard?
I mean, I don't want to say anything disrespectful because I don't really know their relationship. I do know that Michelle is a very strong person and President Obama is a very smart person. So it could be a combination of the two. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like he understood what kind of situation he was dealing with being like the first black president.
Yeah.
And what kind of things would be thrown in his face if he did anything crazy. So I think that had a lot to do with it. Plus, he was in love with his wife. So I think that, he probably wanted to respect his wife and, probably didn't do anything. So
I'm sure if there had been anything that anybody could find, anything microscopic, we would have heard about it.
for sure.
But we didn't.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like he did a good job, but I just believe that there's not that many people in the world that can do what he did. And I'm not saying as far as like being the president, but I'm saying like as far as having that squeaky clean life like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of difficult to do. So, especially when you're young, because a lot of times when you're young, you don't realize what it is that you're doing. You don't realize how 30 years from now that can haunt you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that, a lot of people really think like that. So.
All right. Well, I'm squeaky clean. And so are you.
All right. Call me. I'm not squeaky clean. I'm not saying that because I know someone that knows me is watching this and they're like, he's not squeaky clean. So the other thing I can tell you is if you know Melissa,
all right.
You see how quiet that got? She got very quiet. I wonder what's under her rug.
Edit all this out.
Because like, here's the thing, right? If she's sitting there telling me that the president is supposed to be much better and much smoother with the dirt that he's doing, that's telling me maybe she has some dirt that she has that she just didn't share with us yet. Is that true, MJ?
No, not true at all.
Okay. She just said she wanted me to edit this out, but I'm keeping this in. I'm definitely keeping this in. So what's the bottom line? What do you think the end all is for our upcoming presidents? Are they supposed to keep their sex lives private? And if they do keep it private, because Bill Clinton did keep his private, but Monica told 10 people. One of them was Linda Tripp, and Linda Tripp went and snitched on him and told her to see, other kind of stuff. So I'm asking you before we end it. I'm asking you, does the president just not do anything, or is he supposed to just be smoother on what it is that he's doing?
Just be smoother. Just be smarter. If you're smart enough to get into the White House, be smarter about covering your tracks if you're doing anything you're not supposed to be doing with somebody you're not supposed to be doing it with.
So in that situation with Monica Lewinsky, are you saying that he messed up because she was so young? Because it could have been a 40-year-old that he could have did that with, and she still could have told Linda Tripp, and the same result could have happened.
I think, as with anybody, you should choose your partners wisely. And whenever you're in a position where you could be compromised, whether you work at a store down the street or you work in the White House, you should be respectful of your wife or husband. And what?
I'm not saying anything, right?
And so if you're gonna step out quietly and don't blow up your life because you need to get some on the side. Choose your side chick carefully, and then the side chick has to understand that she's a side chick and not blow up your life.